Am I more than you bargained for? Cool. Been 200 years since the bombs all blew.
What do perverts want with this robot? Like, I can see perverts wanting a robot, but this robot?
I mean, I think a pervert would want any, because like it's kind of like
put my mind into the mind of a pervert,
right?
Real quick.
Any robot can be a sex robot if you're brave enough.
We're going down.
Welcome to Fallout Boys, the officially unofficial podcast for Fallout on Amazon Prime. I'm Jim.
I'm Aaron.
And we're back for Season 1, Episode 6, The Trap. Aaron, what's a trap in this episode? Is it getting $186,000 for your voice rights in perpetuity and then being forced to live with the robot that has your voice?
That's definitely a trap. Also, maybe your agent is trapping you into some of these things too. You might want to rework that. MB Matthew Berry. I think that, I mean, obviously the trap is like the fallout from last episode of Lucy, or I'm gonna call her throughout this episode, Goosey, and Max.
Yes, I love that.
Falling into Vault 4.
Yeah.
But also there's something about, I think, especially, when I watched this episode, I was thinking, like, is this communist meeting going to be a trap? Is Barb getting trapped into the Vault Tech Corp? Is she like has the wool pulled over her eyes and she's so desperate for her family to survive this, nuclear war everyone's worried about that, I think, yeah, those are the kind of traps I see. And maybe like the broadly speaking, the trap of falling into cults. I think it was super rich Maximus saying these people are in a cult when he's in the Brotherhood of Steel. And
there's so much irony here.
Ritually branded by these hulking knights. And there's a lot. And then also there's just the funniness of Lucy being soft bigoted against the Cyclops overseer Benjamin. And then you find out that Benjamin is soft bigoted against the surface dwellers, and they get all opinionated when you start calling them surfies and making illy conceived bomb jokes around them. But then they are kind of in a cult with whatever fucking flame mother thing they got with Moldover. I thought this episode was great because I love lore, and I felt like we got a lot of Fallout lore in this episode. What did you think, Jim?
Yeah, I also really like this episode. I mean, if you look back through the history of episodes, you'll see there hasn't been a one that I've said, oh boy, I hate that episode. The show is pretty universally well written, well acted, well produced. And yeah, this is no exception. I really like the pacing, I guess, of this season is really rounding into shape. Like, I know what's coming in the next couple of episodes as we get to the end of this, but I would also say this has felt like it has had a very good progression of people discovering things, us being introduced to the world. Just everything's really coming together in this show. And that's probably the most impressive part.
Yeah, and I think that's like something we talked about last week is that, this is an hour episode. The last two episodes were like around 40 minutes, and you get that great pacing when you don't have to arbitrarily hit a 55 minute, 30 second mark because you got to cut it down or expand it to that so you can sell enough ads and whatnot. Which is, I don't want to praise Amazon for that because it's not like Amazon's above marketing and selling things, obviously.
Sure.
But I mean, that's another just irony that, Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan are making explicitly anti-capitalist, anti-corporate media for one of the largest corporations owned by one of the top 3 richest men in the world. I can't keep up with who's richer than who nowadays. They're in the race for the first trillion, Jim.
Yeah, leapfrogging each other. No, I agree. Like, that format has allowed them to do some really good things. This show never does just one thing at a time either, which I love. That's the thing. It's always keeping me on the hook with at least a couple of plot threads going, and maybe one falls off, drops into the background for an episode or two. But there's always good reason for it because they're doing interesting things with the other plots. And if they can keep that up to the end, I think everybody's going to be satisfied. And especially as we head towards season 2 here in a few weeks.
Which very excited for. We keep getting closer and closer.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
It's, I'm not sure what I'm more excited for, Fallout or Christmas. Christmas. But still, don't tell Fallout. It's hard to go up against Saint Nick, even if you're the ghoul. Although, I gotta say, the ghoul dressed up as Saint Nick and a Fallout Christmas episode that might happen to fall in the week of Christmas, I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say no.
We'll see.
Snowy Sands.
We have no special knowledge. We haven't seen that screener.
Settlement.
Snowy Sands, yeah.
All right. Do you have anything else kind of non-spoilery to talk about on this episode? Great. So. I was delighted the first time I saw this because, you see Matt Berry and you hear Matt Berry, the unmistakable sound of Matt Berry voicing Snip Snip. I'm like, well, that was fun. That was a really fun Matt Berry, vocal cameo. And then the man himself shows up and I just completely delighted. I just want to point out the style of this show. Like there's a couple times if I forget to mention in the episode, like Cooper in his obsidian Playboy Hugh Hefner outfit with the smoking jacket and pajamas. What a fucking look. His house looks the business. His car, I for the first time I noticed that this car has sliding pocket doors. Did you notice that? The doors slide into the front wall. And just like they just disappear like a Star Trek thing. And apparently this is a real 1950s car. In my notes, I wrote down the model if you're a gearhead and you want it. I guess there's like 50 left in the whole world. And this is a particularly cherry lemon yellow example. But and that's great because it's, again, that sells retro future. Oh, yeah, great show.
We're going through chickens quicker than clean water. Send a few caps our way at support.ballmove.com and get ad-free podcasts in return. You're back for more cousin stuff, aren't you? Welcome back to Fallout Boys.
All right, let's get into the episode. Today, we are talking, of course, about episode 6, The Trap. We begin with Cooper Howard on a black void-like stage, introducing a veritable Camelot of the nuclear age, the Vault-Tec vaults. The set lights come on full to reveal Vault 4, where scientists will rule the community with facts and logic. Cooper earnestly urges the viewer to call Vault-Tec and buy a space in one of their vaults today. And after the commercial shoot is over, some Vault-Tec execs try to schmooze Cooper, and he finds out his wife is throwing a wrap party at his house, a prospect that Cooper does not seem to relish.
I love this advertisement. Just like you're saying, the style of it, feels like that 50s retro future thing and half of it is like a pitch based on fear because they're selling a product that is only valuable to you if you fear the end of the world. And half of it is a pitch that's like, be the talk of the town, have this fancy future that your neighbors might not have, that kind of thing, right?
Right. Yeah. If the bombs drop, would you rather be in a silo with a hermetically stored slice of Americana, or would you rather be, getting your body atomized by nuclear fire? And it's all got that smarmy kind of 1950s where there's something about like the way the advertisements, I feel like, almost talk down to people. Like they're so stagey and call and response and like, oh, you guys are the real hero. It's like so disingenuous, but that's kind of like, I guess people's defensive against marketing or just weren't as sophisticated back then. Or maybe people's media literacy was so dumb that you had to talk down to them, or they'd be like, I don't understand. What are you even trying to, he's got a suit and they're scientists. What am I supposed to what am I even supposed to do here? Got to have a call to action for him. Speaking of which, have you happened to call the Vault hotline?
I did not call it, but I read what happens if you do call it. And I don't know if it's still online.
It is.
It's still working.
It is. I
yeah?
called it this morning just to test. If you call 213-25-VAULT, which if you don't have a new alphanumeric keypad, that is 213-25-28-858. Caller ID identifies the building that you are contacting as AJ's Sausage Pit. And you just hear a man screaming, screaming in agony. And then as he cries for help, the line goes dead. It's
yeah. Nice.
So AJ might be turned into sausage. That might be one of AJ's livestock that he's turning to sausage. Unclear. But no one's going to sell you a Vault. That's for sure.
I wonder how much it costs to set up something like this, to get a phone line. Are they literally just maintaining this for $10 a month with an answering machine on Jonathan Nolan's desk?
It costs less to maintain the life of the series than it does to stock one craft service table for to shoot a Fallout. So that's like money well spent, I think.
Yeah, I think it's cool, even if it's not like mind blowing.
There's a lot of stuff that they're floating out that I think certainly on the first pass through this episode you're not really getting and paying attention to. Did you get any? Did your ears perk up at anything being mentioned about Vault 4?
I mean, there's what you find out later in this episode is this 5-year trial with Vault 4. This ends up being the community led entirely by scientists that we kind of get into. The Lucy and Max had fallen into. And the only other thing I noticed is the use of the word management, which really stuck out to me, by Bud, who says the future of humanity comes down to one word: management.
Makes me think in the Helldivers universe, the concept of managed democracy.
Yeah.
Wait, is it democratically managed democracy? Where
definitely
does the management go all the way to the bottom? It's interesting that these scientists are doing testing on the effects of radiation on human DNA. And there's a lot of things that kind of snap into place here. Like we get the origin of gulpers. We get some of the lore of Vault 4, which is this. I understand this is one of the people's favorite parts of the world of the Fallout, is when you're a vault dweller and you're leaving your vault for whatever reason because your water recycler broke, and you occasionally come across other vaults or other journals, and you find out just how batshit crazy some of these vaults are. And they really play with that concept this episode, of our own prejudices and our own fears about secrets and why people would keep secrets, to pretty hilarious effect.
You meet this guy, Bud Askins, who we find out was put in charge of the rollout of the T-45, the first power armor.
Right.
And apparently that was a big failure. There were a lot of flaws in the design, and they looked great though. And that was what Bud was focused on.
I hear that every one of them looked like Boba Fett's Mandalorian armor. Everyone thought they were so fucking cool. It's just, you can't make armor out of fiberglass, apparently. But they looked good. They looked really good.
Right. But it's interesting because now he's, he's overseeing HR&D, which is a weird turn of phrase. HR&D, HR research and development. So he is experimenting with management, is what I gather from that, especially with what he says at the end. So
was it human resources R&D, or was it human resources and R&D? Because I thought it was the latter, but if you say it's a former, that's interesting because it implies that they're doing research and development on their human resources. Which
exactly, yeah. Which we see in Vault 4.
Bizarre corp speak for people, Right.
Yeah, and that makes me look at what's happening in Vault 4, and that seems experimental to me. Like he's just, I don't know, let's R&D some shit. Let's set up this 5-year experiment and do some experiments on the people in the vault and see what happens.
Yeah, it's pretty grisly. Also, friendly bald move reminder: HR is not on your side, and they're not there to protect you. They are on the company's side, and they're there to protect the company. You might be aligned if your boss sexually harassed you, and that could expose the company to a huge lawsuit, and they want to settle with you. They might, but never forget, they are not there to protect you. They're there to exploit their human resources. And this guy's so smooth in how, like, he's like, yeah, T45 and Coop's like, oh yeah, I'm familiar with that, and guy's like all excited talking about it, and then Coop's like, because it killed so many of my friends. Well, you know, I that wasn't my forte. Like, the rollout wasn't my fault. You know, I made good looking armor that the Department of Defense bought. If the implementation was, but you need to go talk to service. I'm sales.
Yeah, talk to the engineers. You know.
Yes. I think that's it. I mean, we have a little, I don't know if this is the average vault, but it was as designed to accommodate 200 neighbors. And I take that as families. So that must be like 200 rooms. Yeah,
potentially.
But probably room for expansion too, because obviously, you know, but I don't know, because the one thing I don't know if we talked about this in episode 1, but you know, obviously they really tightly regulate birth rate. And I wonder if it's like literally one in, one out. And the only way they could expand is for people to die or to take over another vault.
Seems like it. Maybe there's a lottery when somebody dies for which of the married couples is going to get to have a baby.
Right. I wonder why Lucy wasn't. Oh, yeah, I guess Lucy just couldn't find somebody that she was not related to and compatible with. Because I was like, you'd think she would be a real hot commodity. I mean, number one, look at her. Number two, she's the overseer's, who's the golden boy, daughter.
Yeah.
I did like how he calls him, you know, Bud Buck, you know, at the end, and just to kind of piss him off. We're going to go to Cooper's house, where he welcomes the big wigs and elite of Vault Tech into his home, but he dodges them all in favor of talking to his old film buddy, Sebastian Leslie. These actors who are selling their image to shell products like vaults and futuristic robots seem to be getting froze out of an increasingly anti-capitalist, anti-corporate Hollywood. The sound of snip snip brings the ghoul out of this flashback and back to the present as he is arrested by uniformed law enforcement officers for the crime of fucking up the Super Duper Mart.
I found this scene pretty funny just in its setting, because it's at Cooper's house, but they're having a wrap party for the ad that they shot, which I have to guess took all of an afternoon. Like, the wrap party itself might be longer than the shoot, you know? It's and I guess this is not a thing that's done in the industry, at least according to my sources. But I just found it very funny that they would be having a wrap party for an ad.
Yeah, it's self-serve. I wonder if it's because they're aware that they're becoming unpopular in Hollywood and they're trying to, you know, like make their actors feel comfortable. You know, like, oh well, your Hollywood friends are freezing you out, but then again, if you're going to do that, don't throw it at the dude's home. I guess it on analysis, it feels like Barb Brown nosing, like taking advantage of the fact that you can almost imagine a conversation in the background that the ad execs are like, okay, we're going to filming today, and she's like, and they're going to have a rap party, and they're like, a rap what? Oh yeah, like Cooper's. Every time they get done filming, there's a rap party. I don't know. Well, I'll have it in mind. It's like, is she just grade grubbing here? Because she is desperate to climb this ladder, as we find out through this episode.
Yeah, she talks about why later. Like, this is her attempt to secure a prime spot for her family inside the vaults, and we'll talk about what that means here in a bit. But the thing that sticks out to me is, like, Cooper's losing status in order to do these ads, presumably just for his wife, because she's involved in it and she values it and believes it's important. So he's doing what he can to help his wife out with that, but it's costing him something here.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder, like, is this why he's so down in the dumps at the very beginning of this season? Is it because he's continued to do this, become the Vault Boy, right? That iconic character, and now he's just a pariah. Maybe it's not like, oh, he's a communist necessarily, but like he joined up with this weird capitalist cause, and now everybody's starting to turn on him.
Well,
but he's not sold on the capitalism stuff either. So the capitalists are calling a commie, and now he's ostracized on both sides. So now he's a birthday clown, essentially.
That's what. Yeah, it's because it's like it was only the actors that said they had a problem with the Vault Tech stuff. It wasn't the executives or whatever. But as you'd imagine, the Hollywood executives would probably have a problem with his perceived communist leaning. So you're right. He might just be persona non grata.
Mm-hmm.
There's a newspaper that Coop is looking as he's walking around with his dog Roosevelt that says, Reds losing territory, more troops added to Far East. And later, him and Charlie White Knife are going to talk about this impending peace talks that seem like they're going our way. The universe is telling me here, the Fallout universe is telling me here that the world could give peace a chance. That the world being destroyed in a nuclear holocaust is by no means a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, but it's also tough because later in like a news clip, you hear that uranium sources are getting pretty tight, and being that the world needs uranium for their energy, it's starting to. I get that that's like the source of the tension, is that every country wants uranium to power their societies, but it's in short supply. Yeah. So like, how do you overcome that in your peace talks, right? Like, we'll take the uranium, you get what? 75-year guarantee that will give you X amount of power? Like, it's tough. Yeah, so at some point, like, international trade has to come down to trust, right? That the other party is going to fulfill their obligations and all that stuff. And obviously there's not a lot of trust here. If I'm taking them at their word, there's been some form of hot war for the last 70 years in different spots, all fighting the communists. But yeah, I did like, again, they really sell this easy relationship he has with Sebastian. He calls him Seabass, and Matt Berry is just this guy that you could just believe that he could be friends with anybody. And it's really funny the face he makes when he's like, how much I got for, lending my voice and character to this robot? And he's like, $10 million. His face when he's like 186. Pre-tax. Oh yeah, and they get to keep the robot. Now he's saddled with the horror of him, Matt Berry, telling him he can have a seat whenever he gets to his own house. There's a nice little Easter egg in this newspaper that Coop's looking at the beginning. Oh yeah. Also, a reference to the games, as you might expect. It's Wilson. There's a headline: Wilson Automatoys face lawsuit over Giddy Up Buttercup. I looked this up. It's real. It's a company from the games, and this Giddy Up Buttercup is a mechanical horse that, since Fallout 3, has been advertised as the ultimate in equestrian robotics. Oh, wow. I don't know what other context it has. I mean, horses can be dangerous. Cybernetic horses, even more so, you'd think. Yeah. There's also another Easter egg in this, that apparently this Codswath is a domestic robot that is encountered in one of the Fallout series. That it's Holocaust came and it survived, and its owners are gone, and it's trying to like keep the house as best as it can. So there's like, again, a little wink and a nod to that character and to this whole situation. And I guess that the show is kind of in, because if you go to the Wikipedia, the Fallout, all the fan wikis now, even the video game ones credit the voice of Codsworth as the Sebastian guy who is Matt Berry. It's nice. Yeah. Can I ask you, what do perverts want with this robot? Like, I can see perverts wanting a robot, but this robot? I mean, I think a pervert would want any, because like
It's kind of like
put my mind into the mind of a pervert,
right?
Real quick.
Any robot can be a sex robot if you're brave enough. I think that's what they're. I think it's like this thing has several manipulator arms. Mm-hmm. I have a roll of duct tape and a few implements. I can work with this. Yeah, you're not gonna wait for your perfect triple E breasted Japanese anime eye waifu. You're gonna go with Snip Snip. Roll the dice with Snip Snip.
Boy, did they get perverted sex robots wrong in this universe. Because we're almost there, man. We're almost there. But not this place.
We'll see. I wonder if that's why he always defaults to the desperate, there's no fudge here, whenever he's being attacked, because, the perverts, that's always what they're after. They're always...
The fudge?
Looking for the robot's fudge? I don't know.
Boy.
But yeah, they introduced Charlie Whiteknife. He's a guy that Cooper has worked with and fought with in the battlefields of Alaska against the Reds, and even he is cozying up with the Hollywood Reds.
Mm-hmm.
But
I like how they toast to the future, and then we cut to the awful future of Cooper.
Yeah. And it's such a great, like I said, it's I'd almost forgotten that we last saw him in the wreckage of Super Duper Mart, and Codsworth just kind of like, rambling in its discombobulated state is kind of brings him back. It's a nice connecting thread to him.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there's sheriffs, there's law, and some sort of order in the shithole wasteland.
Government.
It's the kind of law and order that lets you have medical slaves that you just capture and trade for money and goods to steal their organs. But, I guess if you got the right license and the right permits, no problem here. Meanwhile, back in Vault 4, we see the Vault doctors pulling a human tooth that was used as munitions to shoot Maximus in the last episode. The Vault personnel explain everything's fine. They just have to stay here a while, while they go through quarantine. Lucy suggests some recreational sex to pass the time, but Maximus's religious views, let's say that, prevent him from availing himself of her goods. Ominously, the camera pulls back to reveal that they are, in fact, in a test subject holding room.
You remember way back in, episode 2 or something? In the spoiler section, I talked about how maybe they were doing this, but this tooth ammo stuff, way back then, you saw the ghoul plucking teeth out of his dead people, and you're like, why is he doing that? Maybe he's gonna trade him in for caps. I've never seen him use a single damn cap. If he wants something, he takes it. I think he's using this for ammo potentially.
Oh, I think he seems like his ammo is way beyond shooting teeth at people, but
that's true. Yeah.
Also, he doesn't use caps because all of his caps go straight to inhaling.
Right.
He flushes those money down his lungs, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Maximus. So this is so funny that this monastic order that took him in as a young boy, and they're clearly, as far as we can tell, all men. And they tell them these boys incredible stories about how their penis will swell up and explode if they touch it, or if they let a girl touch it. And Lucy's like, well, yeah, ideally that's what happens. I know the way that Max is like, the guys, some guys, not me. Some guys, their penis will swell up and blow up like a pimple. Not me. I'm my penis is strictly for the Brotherhood's use. That's.
This is the thing, man. Turning our human impulses into taboo is maybe the worst thing we've ever done to ourselves. What are we doing?
I don't know. Taboos against murder seem okay. That's something that we kind of naturally do. Taboos against incest.
I don't think I would ever naturally murder anybody. They'd have to come at me.
I don't know. You're saying that as a man who has enjoyed thousands of years of the rule of law. Go back another 10,000 years, Jim, and see if you don't murder somebody. But yeah, taboos against murder, incest, and
yet we still have
preying
this
on
taboo.
children. I think those are good. Those are good taboos that I support. making people feel bad about.
Mm-hmm. And specifically the one about these hang-ups about sex. I don't understand it. Why are we still hanging on to this stuff?
I don't know. Especially when we're letting so much other stuff slip. By God.
Right.
Jesus was about not touching yourself and not having premarital sex. He said nothing about homeless people, the poor, the sick. Famously silent on that. He was all about people's genitals and what they're doing with them. Obsessed. I
love that part in the Bible where Jesus takes 7 condoms and feeds the entire crowd with them.
Yeah. Easier for a man to fit through the eye of a needle, to fit a camel through the eye of the needle, than to enter the kingdom of God not virgin. So think about it. I also like how she's just okie dokie. You're like, she has not, she's like, this is like, I got a deck of cards. You want to play spades? You want to play, euchre? You want to play pinochle? Like, she's offering sex as just a way to, like, hey, we're bored. We're in this room. There's nothing else to do. And poor Maximus, man, he really rolled like a 3-4 for his intelligence and charisma. He just put it all in constitution and strength. Because that's the other thing is, like, I guess I didn't fully appreciate how freaking buff Maximus was until this episode.
Sure.
Dude's a beast. Brother to beasts.
There's information about this vault that we find out in this scene. It's Vault 4. Like we said, that connects back to this ad that Cooper was shooting.
Scientists.
Also,
gotta be utopia.
All of them scientists. And then we also find out that they bring his armor back, which I thought was a really interesting detail because, like, Lucy's vault never opens. They don't contact the outside world at all. And we obviously know that these people bring outsiders in because Lucy and Max are here, but that implies that they go out. They don't just wait for people to fall into their trap. They go out and look for survivors.
But they have dedicated teams. They said our surface scavenging team has found your armor and bringing it back. I remember when I first watched this, I'm like, I thought that they just happened across it. But I think you're supposed to understand that Maximus said, hey, my armor is here. Could you go and get it?
Potentially, yeah.
But I'm surprised Maximus would trust them with the armor. But yeah, they go outside all the time. And I feel like Lucy doesn't clock a lot of this stuff. She's just like, I'm in a vault. She's not getting all of the strangeness, whereas Maximus is on maximum alert because this is a bunch.
Yeah, he's new for him.
He's trapped here. He doesn't know any of these people. His penis might explode. Got to stay on your toes.
For sure.
After they pass through quarantine, Lucy and Max are fed and refreshed and greeted by the overseer of Vault 4, a Cyclops named Benjamin, who A, freaks Lucy all the way out, and B, explains that they must stay away from the forbidden level 12 of the vault. And also register if you want to play foosball, because they only have the one table.
Yeah. I mean, it takes up a lot of space in the hall. I don't blame him. I like that they're eating corn puffs for cereal. That's just like, of course they are. That's what they grow down there. Yeah, there's some other implications of the other foodstuffs when we get to them. But yeah, that's consistent with Vault Dwellers. They're eating a lot of corn. A lot of corn. And Max is like, this is a cult. Everyone's smiling. He can't understand why anyone would be happy ever. Yeah. And the things that throw him, like the fact that everyone's happy and like selfless and pulling for the community good, are things that, Lucy takes for granted. And the things that throw her, like the overseer's mutations, there's another lady who's got glowing eyes and catfish barbs coming out of her chin. Those really deeply disturb Lucy, and Maximus just takes it for like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, that's you're going to get an extra limb or miss an eye, that's just going to happen. For sure. As the ghoul back on the surface is led through the wasteland by the sheriffs, he thinks about back in the way back times when he's enjoying a hot tub with his wife, Barbara. They discuss career, lifestyle changes, and he seems increasingly uncomfortable about her involvement with the inner goings on at Vault Tech. Time for an ad break. You've got two choices to avoid them. Vault Tech's Plan D, or go to support.baldmove.com to get an ad-free episode.
And we're back with more Fall Out Boys on Bald Move.
Yeah, I really like this scene. I think there's some the stuff that happens over the course of this episode with him that really shows the love they have for each other, but also the very strong ideological disagreement that they're having here. It seems like Cooper's morals are being severely challenged by Barb's involvement with Vault Tech, more and more so as he learns more about what she's doing. And I think like part of that is Charlie sort of illuminating some things and I think that's the thing that really sells him on going to this meeting at the end of the episode is when he says, you should learn the truth about where your wife works, in that scene. That's the thing, right? Because he's had this argument with her and he wants to know more about what she's doing.
Yeah, and like he keeps like I don't know that he goes to this meeting if she doesn't slip up and say we got to get into the right vault in the next conversation. So it's like he's getting pulled from two angles, you know.
One of the good vaults. Mm-hmm.
Right. This brings on the next scene where Cooper is at a Hollywood bar having a drink with his old Cowboy and Indians movie buddy, Charlie Whiteknife, who invites him to a secretive meeting of people tired of the cattle ranchers having more power than the sheriffs.
This is one of the truest things that I've heard in this series. It's these incentive structures that are set up within capitalism as it stands currently. The company that is charged with preventing people from dying in the event of an apocalypse has a lot invested in the idea that an apocalypse would come, because if not, their products are useless.
Yeah, and this they talk about the fiduciary responsibility, which is something I kind of learned about, I guess, a decade ago. And I don't think it's supposed to mean that you make money at any cost, even over the lives and deaths of people. But boy, oh boy, there's a lot of gray issues. And the fact that, you know, because a lot of people are like, why do companies always grow? Why do they end up ruining great products that have great support and service and longevity and all that? Because it's like that, none of that shit makes money. And your shareholders can literally sue management of the company for breach of fiduciary responsibility if they did not make all the money that they could have. You know, It's not enough just not making money, but like you could have made more money if you would have done X, Y, and Z. And this is like a chilling, I guess, the way that Asimov's robots intuited the zeroth law about like, well, it's not just individual humans, it's all of humanity. It's like Vault Tech is intuiting this fiduciary responsibility of like, well, we're making vaults, and if peace comes out, if world peace breaks, shares of Vault Tech are going to drop. We got to make sure peace doesn't break out. Yeah.
No, I think he's right on.
Yeah. I also really love the commentary about the good old days of Hollywood. And there's this Native American actor, and he's talking about all these bullshit roles he's played. And Cooper is, he's like, oh, no, that wasn't a throwaway role. That was Tall Hand Mud Lake, and he could talk to horses. And he's like, yeah, Tonto is Lone Ranger's best friend. I can talk to horses. You have a whole backstory. You have a family and children. You have a fucking dog that we know the name of. I talk to horses. It's great. It's great.
Yeah.
Also, it's a little quaint when they're throwing away that Vault Tech has got $1 trillion and own half of everything. Like, this is 2070 something. I think we're going to be talking trillionaires within the next decade. Hollywood needs to go back and just start adding an extra couple zeros to anything that's set more than 40 years into the future, I think. Right. 20 years. 10. Also, this is another, like, a cult. Like, the word cult is brought up, which is, because I think there are things that can fairly be called a cult, but also cult is a lot of things that out groups say about in groups that they don't like.
Yeah, I suppose so.
And he says you should show up. It's not like you think. It's not a whole bunch of hippie commies. They're having this meeting. It's 4 p.m. Show up. We'll see what Cooper does. Cooper retires back home after his meeting with White Knife, and he and Barb fight ostensibly over restrictions on dogs, but it's really about freedom and ultimately the horror of deaths of billions.
Yeah, this is so I will say during this argument that they're having, my sympathies stayed firmly, or my thinking stayed firmly with Cooper, but I did see them doing a pretty damn good job of steel manning the straw man argument that Barb's putting forward.
Sure.
Like there's plenty of reason for her family as individuals to want to participate in this thing because they see the end of the world coming and they want to secure a great spot for themselves. Understandable. And she is emotionally manipulating him throughout this argument. Like every time he scores a point, she says, well, what about our daughter? The end of the world is coming and our daughter's not going to be safe if we don't participate in this. Fair enough, but you are participating in the very thing that your daughter's not going to be safe from. So,
but also that she scored some points with me when, because Cooper's like, we gotta just get a ranch in Bakersfield. She's like, Coop, if the bombs drop, a 2-hour drive out of the city ain't going to cut it. You need to get behind 3 feet of lead in a Vault-Tec vault. But, that's the thing. It's like, and I guess like if there was nothing you could do to change it, it seems like it'd be at least morally neutral, if not good, to want to get your family into a vault at the expense of other billions of people that won't be able to fit in there. If you take it, there's only going to be a small fraction. You got your family. It's the most important thing to you. You should protect it. But that comes back as like, is it inevitable? Because it seems like this war might be winding down in a way that's even favorable to the United States and the rest of the, I don't know who's the capitalist powers at this point, but Vault-Tec's instead going to fuck it up. So it's again, not sure I agree with Barb here.
Yeah, no, I don't think she's on the right side of this, and Cooper definitely has the moral high ground. I think, like saying, who makes these decisions that there are no dogs in the vault, that I have to wear a blue jumpsuit. It does make me wonder, like, and I kind of hope we get flashbacks to this. What did that first generation of Vaulties look like when they come down in their street clothes? Because they're not in jumpsuits right now. Like,
you wouldn't think.
What is the procedure? If you come in, you get handed a suit and your clothes are burned? And how do people adjust to that change, that sort of new power structure?
Do you think that's something we'll see? Because you talk about man, and again, that's my fascination with the lore and the background. But I too would love to see, like you said, just people going to the vault. Like I imagine that when you buy a vault, they give you your pit boy. Because you have to, you got to present something that says you're there. Yeah. But what people are like streaming towards? Are there a bunch of people that want to get in but can't because they don't have the contract, or people trying to, go and buy people out of their contracts? What is it like that first generation that remembered what life was like on the? How did they just get turned into corporate slaves? Because that's the proposition here. She says, we're going to get into the vault that is a special management vault. We oversee all the other vaults.
Right.
Which that makes me think the Vault 31. Well, I don't know if that's a special vault or not, but it makes me think that we speculated you got Vault 31, 32, 33 as a little triumvirate. I think they're more connected than that even. She said all the vaults.
Yeah, they could be, certainly. I do wonder if we'll get any more information about that through Vault 4. That could be possible. But it's also an admission, like this idea that there will be special vaults that oversee the other vaults is an admission of an inherent built-in class structure from day one. Like you have 200 people. You don't need to separate them by classes. This is could be an equal community. Why do we not set it up that way? Cooper's points are extremely valid here, and I feel like he's steamrolled by the "but our daughter" argument.
It's a good argument, but our family, but our daughter.
But
like that's
yes, but it completely ignores the moral or ethical questions.
I say it's not a good argument; it's an effective argument.
Exactly. Yes.
Next, we're back in the dismal apocalyptic future in Vault 4 as Overseer Benjamin interviews Lucy, who he will call Goosey, about their mutual experience growing up in the vault. The Overseer reveals some problematic views about surface dwellers, then is offended by Goosey's questions about level 12, and he summarily kicks her out of his office.
Why is this
I don't
so
know
funny?
if he mentioned. I can't imagine there's a lot of people who are watching that. They're listening to this, they're not watching it, unlike some podcasts. But if you didn't know, the Overseer, the Cyclops, is played by Chris Parnell, and full on, Cyril Figgis / Jerry mode. Maybe a slightly more competent and bureaucratic version of those. But when she says, "Oh, my name's Lucy," and he gets out. At first, I'm like, he's his glasses, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna be Cyclops, but they're just conventional glasses. And he looks, and his one big fucking eye is going right through the middle of the glasses, and he's like, "Nope, Goosey." Like, I thought that was a really funny sight gag.
It's very funny. I love this. Goosey is such a funny name for her, and I don't like it's. It's not apropos of anything. It has no connection to anything else, but it's very funny.
It is like the only thing I can think of is like there's a phrase called "you can't do things all loosey goosey," and I do. There is a little loosey goosey there. I think 'cause especially since there's nothing loose about Lucy at all. She is very buttoned down and correct, and I love how when she's talking about Maximus and trying to encourage him to give the Vault life a chance, because I know you're up there and the shoot show upstairs, like she still has she sworn once yet? Maybe she did when she was talking. She was shining off the the ghoul.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's very prim and proper. Other than adding, just being very casual about the sex. But that's his Vault life, baby. It's all about cousin stuff and passing the time.
Yeah. Another thing we mess up, we've created taboos around sex, but we also tell people that certain things are off limits and then expect them to honor that. Like, that doesn't work like that. It just makes you more curious. Why is it off limits? What are you hiding from me? Yeah.
I mean, this is the same mistake that Dumbledore made in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. You can't tell the kids that they're forbidden from this wing under pain of whatever. Like, of course a bunch of kids are going to want to investigate. Arguably he wanted them to, but that's a whole other conversation. I did like also the cat, that he's casually racist. Not racist. He's casually bigoted against surface dwellers, and Lucy is like not so casually just bigoted against all the mutants down here. The other funny thing is, this is just, I think, an absurd thing, is like Chris Parnell does a spit take for no reason, and he's like, "Oh, moldy coffee," and then when she asks about level 12, he spit takes again, but because he's I don't know what they're doing there, but it was really funny to have just a spit take because moldy coffee. Also surprised, that he's a 5th generation Vault dweller, but they take in the surfacers for that's just what they do. What was that? I wonder if that's a original part of the Vault, or if the scientists ran out of test subjects and started like, hey, we need more test subjects, because the collection room is labeled test subjects. That had to be its original purpose, right?
I assume so. Yeah. The ironic thing that you don't, unless you stop and like think about it, you don't understand is that this guy is bigoted against surface dwellers, but he's a Vaultie 5 generations ago. Well, how many years is that? 200? I don't think so.
No,
I think it's more like 100.
Yeah.
And he himself is a surface dweller 5 generations removed. His ancestors were surface dwellers. He's bigoted against himself. He just doesn't acknowledge it.
No, I mean, right, I think about like Gangs of New York, where the
Right.
the one political party was calling themselves the Native Americans because they could trace their history back to the Revolutionary War, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, we actually call Native Americans something different today. You know, you had other names for them, but we call it's just really funny.
Yeah,
and it's a cycle that is like a standing wave in history that seems to repeat this,
mm-hmm.
Preoccupation of what it really means to belong to a community and to be a real American and all that things. Because like obviously Chris Parnell doesn't give a shit about or Overseer Benjamin doesn't give a shit about how many eyeballs you've got. It's like, oh God, is your cooking weird and smelly? Do you know how to flush a toilet?
Right. Yeah, there's a certain sense of like perspective you lose within your identity, your perception of yourself.
Mm. We're gonna go visit Maximus, see what he's up to. He's kind of feeling a bit fenced in. Used to seeing the sky his whole life. Now he's in these dull, slightly blue corridors, and he decides to go find his armor. You know, that's going to make him feel safe. And then he realizes it's unpowered. So then he starts scrounging around for a fusion reactor. As he finds it, the second in command of the vault, the tall, dark-haired lady, finds him there and says, you should really give the vault a try. It's hard for us surface dwellers to trust. Here's your room, 428. Go check it out. And he gets to, for maybe the first time in his life, explore the simple pleasures and joys of a hot shower, television, and caviar.
The simple life. They're playing the song while he's... I don't know that I would call this even the simple life. This is a little bit beyond the simple life.
Once you're 100 feet underground,
sure,
in a lead-lined vault, you are not living the simple life. But it is an ironic about like this. Yeah, he's just essentially having a Saturday afternoon for like the first time with nothing to do and a well-stocked fridge for the first time in his life.
Yeah, it's the caviar that throws me. That doesn't smack of simple life in my mind. That smacks of high society, very complicated life.
Isn't it interesting that this vault that seems to be doing a lot of crossbreeding experiments on humans and aquatic life has a near infinite supply of things like oysters and caviar?
Yep. Yep.
I gotta say,
Gross.
I've tried caviar. I think it's fucking disgusting. I don't know why. Like,
yeah?
I think that if Maximus, as a surface dweller, ate that, he would have... Any person, if they didn't know what caviar was, if you gave him like, here's a spoon of this, and they assume it's gone bad. It's god awful, okay? And this might be sour grapes because I couldn't afford to regularly eat it, but like, yeah. Sure. And when I ordered I paid. It was like in like 1999, and the dawn of the internet, I ordered some beluga caviar that came in a chest of dry ice, and it was like the size of a, I don't know, like a 1-inch diameter and 1/2-inch high little can. So it's not much, and it cost like $175 back in 1999.
Oh, what?
For like a couple grams of this shit is enough for me and my wife to have a couple. And I'm like, after like a half spoonful, I'm like, nope, this is nasty. So
I gotta know how this is different from roe, which is just fish eggs, just like caviar. How is this different? Like, why are you paying $175 a tin and I can get a $1 piece of sushi that's loaded full of it?
Yeah, what is it about beluga caviar, those sturgeons? Like, why is that it's one marketing. True? Yeah,
it's got to be just marketing. It's like a diamond, you know. Shit, we can make them in labs, but for some reason,
Talitha, our producer, says roe is a general term for any fish or shell eggs, while caviar is a specific type of roe that comes exclusively from sturgeon. So it's not caviar unless it comes from the caviar lake in Russia or wherever. It's just sparkling trout if you get it from any other place. Anyway, yeah.
Here's the thing about this community that I'm kind of picking up on through context clues. She all but catches Max in the act red-handed of stealing their fusion core. I mean, he's got the system powered down. He's practically turning the thing to pull it out. And she doesn't call him on it. She just says, why don't you take a nice long weekend here? Is this... Because I think this is exactly how Lucy's community would react to someone about to do something bad. They would just try and correct them softly.
Yeah, redirect them.
Is that saying that this community is a lot like hers in that way?
I got it to where it's like they are very used to surface dwellers who are traumatized and not used to and that probably the first thing your average surface dweller does in a vault is try to sabotage, tunnel, or get it. So I bet it's like a standard operating procedure. It's like, hey, we got to tail the new people for a while because, you know, they're either going to shit on the floor or steal our fusion core or rip our water reclamator out. While Maximus is enjoying the simple life, Goosey goes on to check how the classrooms work down in Vault 4 because, you know, she was a teacher back in Vault 33. And she finds across some unwelcome history. She's distracted by a procession of Vault dwellers walking towards the cafeteria who eagerly invite her to come along with them. This is, I think, Goosey here is every Fallout fanboy who is familiar with the lore. They're just looking at the fall of Shady Sands and the nuke of Shady Sands and the dates, and they're just in horror and disbelief. How can this be happening? I don't suffer from that cognitive defect, so I just thought this was interesting.
I do too. What's it teaching her? What is she learning from this?
I think that she really thought Maximus was mistaken, although they just had a giant crater. There's no way she thinks that's just a regular bomb. Maybe it's just confirmation that everything he said is right.
And I think how that, prosperous and the NCR was, right? And Shady Sands in particular. They had a library. They had a trolley, for God's sake. We don't even have trolleys.
Yeah.
In some ways, they're more advanced than us.
Yeah, and the fact that this government stood for almost 100 years, like the Shady Sands as a populated village lasted for over 120, it just goes back to her reclamation day. It's not like they just missed it. Like, oh, Shady Sands they tried to get something together 10 years ago. It's like, no, this thing it had professionally produced flags. And I did not know this because, again, I'm not a Fallout player, but apparently when she unfurls the flag and holds it out, they start playing like a slow version of the Fallout main theme, which must have hit like a truck if you are one of those fanboys and girls of Fallout.
I'm not saying we've resorted to eating human flesh, but if you support the podcast at support.baldmove.com, we'll never have to. We're back with more Tales from the Wasteland with the Fallout Boys.
But the only thing that can pull her away from the history books is a weird cult ritual. We'll see where that goes. But meanwhile, the ghoul gets brought before Sorrel Booker, who is the self-styled president of the shithole part of the Wasteland. He eventually dispatches the president's guards and interrogates Booker himself, demanding to know why he has a certain woman's face on his wall. The president says, well, that's Moldaver, triggering an elaborate series of flashbacks with Cooper taking a meeting and Goosey being progressively creeped out by a ritual and a montage we'll talk about in a bit. But let's just stick with the president here, the president and the ghoul.
All right. I love that the president is eating whatever he's eating. Chicken, maybe. But he's got a cyst bucket next to him that he's spitting all. I was like, is that bones? But no, if you look at the writing on the side, it says cysts. Yeah. And it's really gross.
It is really gross. So it's like they're also smoking. So it's like these are radioactive tumor cysts in whatever chicken dog iguana thing he's eating, and
Good Lord.
and they might be edible, but you just shouldn't, because they're smoking and radioactive. You of course recognize the actor here, right?
Yes, I do. And now that you're putting me on the spot, I cannot think of where I've seen him.
It's Glenn Flesher, and I think he's probably most famous to you and me as George Remus from Boardwalk Empire.
Of course.
Who always talked about himself in the third person. And then he's also the Green Monster Man from season 1 of True Detective. He's been in a couple other things too, but those are the big ones I know him from. And here he's a big, fleshy, corrupt politician. It seems right up his alley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's great.
I don't know, guys. There's some just great dialogue. Like this is just a pleasure to watch. Goggins drawl through this and not be really intimidated by these guys, and having them giving him a whole bunch of, they untie his hands. Like I almost wonder, like, did they just not take him seriously? They let him stitch his trigger finger back on.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's all this building menace, and he starts, provoking the boys and ask him. He's like, "Oh, well, your dad's from Philly. Well, is he a coward? Because if he's not, he's dead." Mm-hmm. And then the brief outburst of violence where he like shot the dude through the lungs and balls, and then with the other dude's own gun shot him in the chest. And it's like, you went from having a Secret Service to being at his mercy in like 2.5 seconds.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he does ask an interesting question of the ghoul. Why are you still alive? Like, what keeps you going? And his estimation is you're still looking for her. He doesn't say who her is. Moldaver is mentioned in this scene as the Flame Mother, but it doesn't feel like that's the her to me.
Yeah, it feels like that's the easy answer. And obviously another her could be his wife, and another her could be his child, Janie.
Yeah.
But it is funny to see that, like, he had no idea Moldaver was the same lady that he knew back then until he saw the face to put with the name. Mm-hmm. I guess we should also say this is that these were all a bunch of wanted posters in the president's office, and mostly ghouls. Seems like they're mostly cracking down on ghouls in this territory, but Moldaver is number one of the bullet. She is above all the others.
And they call her in this scene the Flame Mother.
Yes.
And that'll come back here in a bit in the ritual.
Yeah. Also, I love how Goggins just empties his pistols into he's got him dead. They're on the ground, and he just. Why do you think he does that? Just to intimidate Remus, or?
I don't know.
Just to just make sure his trigger finger works.
Sure. Is that his finger or is that Lucy's finger? I can't remember.
Oh.
It would be great if it was Lucy's finger, frankly, because she's got this dead finger now. And he has her finger. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I don't think it was because I didn't see it like not matching the flesh tone, but maybe that'd be an interesting. Yeah, like if you know the provenance of the ghoul's finger, tell us about it. Fallout at baldmove.com. So there's this montage, famously hard to recap these viewer and character and pieces coming together and from different time zones and different places, but essentially Lucy is, in a very curious and open-minded, good-hearted vault dweller's way, decided she's going to try the local customs here. And the vaulties all go and they start this breathing exercise, kind of Lamaze thing, and Lucy's like, okay, breathing, I can get down with that. And they do this Tai Chi kind of like standing wave, and she's like, all right. And then they strip out of their blue jumpsuits, and she's like, I think I'll unzip like 3 or 4 inches here. And then bowls of ashes start being pressed, and then bowls of blood are drank from, and then the second in command gets up there and starts talking about the Flame Mother and how they're going to bring her back by drinking blood and covering themselves in the ashes of the fallen of Shady Sands, with the huge culmination of the reveal that Moldaver is the Flame Mother. They've got a big banner with her in revolutionary red and black. What the hell's going on here, Jim?
I don't know. I mean, it's the clear face of it is these former surface dwellers, current vaulties, worship Moldaver. Like, why? I couldn't tell you. We have no idea. But that's the text here.
What's the implication of Flame Mother to you?
I mean, the creation of fire, I guess, has some implications with like a life giver, a civilization aspect to it, right? Like that's when humans kind of discovered their potential in a way.
Yeah, Prometheus-like. She's a Prometheus figure to them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just can't help but think that Shady Sands getting bombed, and was she in on it? And is she getting credit for? But like, why would they call her Flame? You know, again, they kind of highlight this with the Overseer Benjamin when he's like, he made a joke that didn't land, and Lucy's like, well, it was a really big bomb, and
Jesus,
yeah, it's offensive, right? Wouldn't it be equally offensive to call your religious figure the Flame Mother if you were annihilated in a nuclear holocaust? It's a weird choice of words.
Yeah. No, I mean, the real answer to this is it's all mildly interesting because I know the real answer to this, but
it's all mildly interesting.
Can't go, too deep into it. I will say I really like I really like the connection, you know, that the way that they bring this together at the end with Cooper's meeting and Lucy's meeting, and Lucy's seeing like this cult displayed right before her eyes. The thing that Max said it was at the beginning, it's turned out to be exactly that. The question I have, and I guess there's another way they could have gone with this episode, is Lucy connecting any of this to her vault? Because, like, I could see pairing this much the same way they did with Cooper's stuff in the future and going to the communist meeting. I could see them pairing this instead with Lucy's brother, Norm, finding out about, like, the Vault 31 overseers, like how they always come from Vault 31, and connecting these cult things right back to her community, right? That's a different way they could go with the episode. I really like what they did here, but
yeah,
that's an option because that's how I'm seeing it. I'm seeing, well, yeah, this is a strange thing to be doing in a vault, but are your customs any stranger or less strange?
Right. And I will say that,
I just don't know if that's
I will
connecting with her.
Like, again, I'm not a Vault 4 dweller, but if I was a Vault 33 and I saw these mutants coming around who are walking the surface and taking people, I'd be like, this is very strange and dangerous and sketchy.
Oh, yeah.
But I also think, yeah, it is. In retrospect, she might be taking away a couple lessons here, you know, about how quick she was to trust the Vault and how naturally Maximus was distrustful. And then once Maximus got food in his belly and soft slippers on his feet, he unquestionably just assumed, even though no information changed his mind in terms of how creepy he thought they were and how weird their culture was. But they bought him off, essentially. And it's something to probably say something about the American consumer, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. As long as we have these creature comforts, we're pretty much docile.
As long as people have full bellies and roofs over their heads, nothing too crazy is going to happen. But oh boy, you miss a couple meals. You're going to have problems. It's all really interesting, and the way this all comes together for the mutual reveal of Moldaver, who was alive and well in the 2070s, that said she was a big fan of Cooper, which makes me wonder if she has kept track with his wasteland self. Because if you recognize her, she'd probably recognize him. Well, I guess he looks quite a bit different, doesn't he?
A little bit, yeah.
So after this, Goosey runs to find Maximus, who now just loves the Vault life. She insists that Vault 4 is hiding things, decides to go down to level 12 to prove it. I don't want to talk about the Vault or the level 12 just yet, but anything...
I just like how they switch places philosophically about the vault, their opinion on it. It's really well constructed how they get there.
It's a callback to the cock explosion because, he's high on oysters everyone says it's an aphrodisiac. I don't know if that shit's
That's
real.
all I hear.
But, he's like kind of almost talked in in a fast talking, like meth mouth drugged way. And he's like, you want to make my cock explode now? And she's like, no, I got other things to do. But, and now, she's like, these people are insane. And he's like, no, they're nice. You're misunderstanding it. The complete role reversal.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go on to see what Goosey finds on level 12. She finds evidence of ghastly human experiments, banks of cryo chambers housing naked pregnant women before a doctor comes in to check on his quote unquote patients. Goosey is eventually discovered and brawls with Vault 4's denizens before she's overcome, accusing them all of being insane. All the while, Maximus is enjoying a waterfall and handfuls of popcorn. He's tickled pink with the way things have gone.
Yeah, man. She kicks their asses. Like, Lucy, hand to hand, is formidable.
I do like how they keep showing, they kind of show not told us in the first episode, but setting that up, and she just does kind of straight up wreck shop anytime she has to. The other Vaulties are not prepared for it.
Nope.
Disturbing stuff in this level 12. We see this weird submerged patient chair and this weird vault. Kind of looks like something that they hooked Wolverine up to inject adamantium into his skeleton up in Canada. There's healthcare so much better. That just is something the government pays for. You want adamantium injecting your bones? They'll do it. And then she finds the VHS tape that shows this pregnant woman giving birth to what appear to be gulpers that instantly begin to devour her, which I found extremely disturbing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this all seems really bad.
Also, no longer so mysterious how those gulpers got human fingers in their mouths and why their eyes look suspiciously human.
And you got a whole bunch of cryopods here lined up with pregnant women in them, assuming the same thing's about to happen to them with just maybe a different iteration of the experiment. Bad. But,
and again, you're starting to make the connection about like, where did caviar come from? Where'd you get beluga caviar 250 years after the bombs dropped, man? She also throws acid in that dude's face. Like she's an animal. Like that was her opening gambit, is to grab this flask full of God knows what, throws it on the man. His face starts melting. She ran through 6 vaulters, and then it took 2 big men to eventually subdue her.
Look, if you're going to get your face melted anywhere, get it melted in a vault full of mutants. That's what I say. You'll fit right in.
That's true. Because, like, how bad are you going to look to the catfish face lady?
She might find you more attractive.
She's a catfish lady. Of course she's going to trick you into thinking she's better looking than she is, but you got a melted face, so who are you to complain? Good observation, Jim. I like that. Yeah, if you're going to get your face melted off and be a deformed freak, you're going to be in good company. That's it. That is the episode in its entirety. We'll be talking about episode 7 next week, getting really close to the release of season 2. If you'd like to send us feedback, you can do so at fallout@baldmove.com, and we would love to have your support. We got a lot of cool things coming up this Christmas. We got Pluribus is probably dropping this week, if it hasn't dropped already by the time you're hearing this. We got Fallout coming back. We got Star Trek Academy in the new year. Tons of House of the Dragon and apparently Night of the Seven Kingdoms both next year. Get in, help us make these podcasts. Get some ad-free feeds. Get some extra bonus content each week for yourself. Go to support.baldmove.com to find out all those great ways. All right. Again, we are pretty far into the season. Not a lot of things to make connections to, because next episode's where it all comes together. So let's just get the feedback. Jim, did we get any? Did anyone send any suggestions to the K-Piss playlist this week at fallout@baldmove.com?
Sure.
It's going to be 100% fiddling no matter what, but, might as well consider them.
Yeah, but I think the fourth caller wins, I don't know, a copy of Tennessee Ford's...
A free Rusty horse
tons.
trap.
Yeah. Trip to the bear trap. No, we had a few. We'll start off with Janet A, who says, one of the many things I noticed on rewatch that I didn't catch the first time through was the video playing on the flickering television in Vault 32. I'm pretty sure it was about a famous mouse utopia experiment. In the experiment, mice were given everything they could possibly want or need, but would almost always descend into violence and chaos when eventually destroy themselves. They sent a link to an article and a video about the experiment. I wonder if that video was a subtle hint as to what actually took place in the vault and led to its demise.
Which vault are we talking about?
Is it
4
Vault
or 31? 30? Because like Vault 4, I think is this whole science thing. But I do like obviously, I think they're talking about this biological sync experiment or behavioral sync, where it's like it removes the motivation for the animal to essentially do anything. Yeah, there must be something to that. It's just I'm having a hard time saying which vault are we saying that like that is Vault 33? Vault 33 is the control where everyone's life is managed. But if that was that, if it was a paradise that they're creating, they wouldn't have like grain blights and whatnot. But I guess that grain blight was only an excuse, maybe only an excuse to kill Lucy's mom and get away with it, or explain why she disappeared, or I think there's some hints to that.
Tough to know exactly. But I mean, I could see it being an unraveling in progress, right? Like Vault 33 is unraveling. It's just not totally unraveled yet.
Yeah, I want to read the conclusion of this experiment. This has happened in 1962. They provided these mice with unlimited water, food. They had no predators to worry about. They were vaccinated. There was no disease. It was perfect temperature for rats. And the result was, it said many female rats were unable to carry the pregnancy to full term or survive delivery of their litters. Even greater number, after successfully giving birth, fell short in their maternal functions. Among the males, the behavior disturbances range from sexual deviation to cannibalism, from frantic overactivity to pathological withdrawal, from which individuals would emerge to eat, drink, and move about only when other members of the community were asleep. Wow. I feel seen by these mice. The social organization to animals showed equal disruption. The common source of these disturbances became more dramatically apparent in the populations of our first series of 3 experiments, in which we observed the development of what we call the behavioral sync. The animals would crowd together in greatest number in one of the 4 interconnecting pins, in which the colony is maintained. As many as 60 of the 80 rats in each experimental population would assemble in one pen during periods of feeding. Individual rats would rarely eat except in the company of other rats. Strange. And the resulting extreme population densities developed in the pen adopted for eating, leaving the others with sparse populations. It's another kind of Vault 33, Vault 32. It's not a clean connection, because it wasn't because they chose to go to one vault over the other. It's because, the raiders came and whatnot. But I don't know. There could be some foreshadowing for season 2 vault reveals.
Sure. I find it compelling that that's what's going on here. We know they're all experiments, so
especially with the offspring angle, that and maybe they're doing something that with like the Cooper's family situation, that these mice that have everything provided for them, they get said that like infant mortality in this colony was 96%, because apparently the mothers just couldn't be asked to care for their children.
Too busy watching their shows, their stories.
Nah, it's a really weird result. Yeah, but also rats aren't people. That's the other thing I always, know, when you try to overgeneralize behavioral stuff, they're very different animals. But if it was playing on the background of a TV, then Nolan and Joy wanted us to notice it and think about it. So good job.
All right, Kurt has a question. Did you guys see any reason why Maximus started the series as kind of a clueless boob And by the end of this first season, he was very competent and clever. For instance, the head swap for the Brotherhood was smart, as was his alertness for the bridge crossing versus those two cannibals. It didn't seem like anything really happened to smarten him up. It was a bit of an odd character development with no stimulus, but the show was so creative and awesome, I didn't really care too much in the grand scheme of things.
I don't know if people get tired of me saying this, but it could be an allusion to the video game, because that's how all these video games start. You literally start as a level 1 moron that can't do anything, and by the end of the game you're wearing power armor and you're an expert crack shot with a sniper rifle and you've got first aid combat skills. Like, now that's not a satisfying in-universe explanation, but that might just literally be what they're going for, that like him and Lucy both are these level 1 people that are going out and developing, and they're getting different armors and all kinds of stuff, right? In universe, it could be that he was a child and he was taken in by this brutal conformist group that, you know, thinking for yourself is punished and going along with the flow and groupthink is rewarded, and that he's never really had to make calls for himself, and now he's stretching that muscle. It's getting a little stronger. Yeah,
I think that's part of it, and I agree generally with your categorization here of Maximus as starting as a clueless boob, but not entirely. Like the thing he does early on that's smart, that also is horrific, is he lets Titus die. That he's achieving a goal in a very, like, I don't know, approaching it from a different angle kind of way, right? He wants to be a knight. He's found an opportunity to be a knight. He just has to be smart enough to recognize it. And he is. He decides to just let him die. That's kind of as resourceful as smashing up a head and switching it out, you know? It's just a different manifestation of it. So I don't think he's always been a clueless boob, but at least not like completely helplessly clueless.
And that kind of feeds into my theory that he's the raw material is always there, because notice how hesitant, like he didn't commit to that course of action. Like he just kind of like passively let it happen and was unsure of it, versus the fairly commanding decision he made where it's just like, yeah, take this head. I've got this other head. Before even Lucy knows what I'm doing, I'm going to bash it up and I'm going to get... Shows me like maybe he's always had that. It's just that he's been so hesitant, and, you know, also getting the shit kicked out of you by your peers can do all kinds of traumatizing things, make you want to stay in a box and not flash out too much. Sure. So it could be a lot of different things going in here. But also, I think
definitely getting out of the influence, the sphere of influence of the Brotherhood has upped him a couple levels.
Yeah. And also, yeah, he's just a level 1 doofus at the beginning of the at the beginning of the series.
And Mo has some other insights into Maximus as a Fallout player. Mo says, I love the character and story of Maximus because he represents the choices that you make in the games. As you probably know, the various storylines of the Fallout games can head in many directions based on the decisions you make and the factions you decide to work with. Often you can have the best intentions to be a good person, but then you end up in a sticky situation and having to massacre a bunch of people or creatures in order to get out of it alive. Or you make a dialogue choice that puts you in hot water with other characters or ends in an unexpected way. Maximus represents a player who is failing upwards. Someone who may have good intentions, but ends up making a few wrong decisions, even though the morally good decision is obvious. Nothing shows this idea better than the end of the season when he's seen as a Brotherhood hero for defeating the NCR, even though he was passed out the whole time. I hope the next season explores this idea more and puts him at odds with Lucy so that he learns that actions do eventually have consequences.
That is an excellent take. I can't find any fault with it at all.
All right. Nothing more to say. Well done, Mo. That's going to be it for our feedback.
Appreciate everybody's thoughts and our sojourn through the wastelands of season 1. Again, season 2 right around the corner. Very excited for that to be coming out. Hope you guys have enjoyed this podcast. Once again, that's our episode. Fallout at baldmove.com is how you get in touch with us. Support.baldmove.com is how you throw us a little something for making the content for you and get a couple nice things for yourself. That's going to do it for this week. Until next week, I'm your host, Aaron.
And I'm Jim.
Okie dokie.
We're going down.